going live on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, my profile. Welcome, Derek Rydall. I'm so excited to talk with you today. Hey, it's Give Voice to Your Vision, and we have an amazing, that's the name of our show. I haven't done a live episode for a little while, been stoking the fire to share this brilliant coach, master, teacher, amazing wealth mentor with you today. And we're talking about abundance, mastering the money, energy of money and wealth. Derek, hi.
Hi.
So glad you're here.
I thought we were just going to start singing. I was ready.
I'm always ready.
Amen.
Hell yeah. I love it. Can't stop me from singing. But that was part of my journey. I bet you don't know, not being able to sing and share. So yes, share your message. And Derek's here to share his message. Derek, I'm going to read a little bit about you. So for those of you who don't know Derek yet, he is an amazing teacher, one of the world's foremost experts on how to live the purpose you came for. Can I get a hell yeah? Right? And create wealth and abundance. And he's going to answer some of the as much as we can squeeze into the juicy time we have with this brilliant guy, questions around wealth and abundance and what stops us from having it and how can we unlock it and unleash it. He's coached billionaires and millionaires and media moguls and Oscar winners, and he does all kinds of cool creative things too. We have a similar background in performance as well. So I'm really excited to have you with us today, Derek. Thanks for taking some time and sharing your message with us here.
Me too. I didn't realize I was going to get to sing all my answers.
You do. Absolutely. Game on. Ready? I love it. I love it. So, let's start with the world is crazy. And, how do we, one of the things.
Abundance, the musical.
Yeah.
The abundance. It's the abundance.
I actually have a certification in something called abundance. Anyway, that's 30 years ago. How is it that we really will you share for those who are feeling at the whim of the economy and the political situation, all the stuff, the circumstances of life, health, relationships, how is it that we can actually create our abundance no matter what? What can you tell us about that?
Well, the first thing, the big, major principle to understand is that we were designed to create out of nothing. The same way the universe created. Out of seemingly nothing, out of no thingness, everything appeared, right?
Yeah.
Bam, blessed and multiplied. There was everything, right?
Yeah.
And that's the esoteric meaning of made in the image and likeness of God. It means we have the same creative design. Our consciousness is the source. And if you even look at a little tiny seed, an apple seed, you can't find an apple tree inside there. But that seed can create not only an apple tree, but it can create infinite apple trees.
Right.
So infinity is right here, all the abundance, all the wealth, but it's not material. So the first thing, we're designed to create out of nothing. But to understand that, you have to understand the universe consciousness doesn't create out of atoms. It doesn't create out of cabbages and kings, stocks and bonds, right?
Yeah.
You have to first understand what is the real, and this can be a paradigm shift. And it takes a moment to get with it. But we've all had moments like this. But wealth or money or abundance is not material. It's not dollars and all that kind of stuff. To use the example again of the seed or the fruit tree, the fruit of the tree is not the wealth of the tree. That's why when all the fruit is gone, the farmer doesn't cut the tree down and go, well, I'm broke now. She knows that if she keeps nourishing the roots, there's an invisible force that somehow transmutes all the raw energy of life, the prana, turns it into the sap, which becomes the flowers, the blossoms, the fruit, etc. And we're designed to create the same way. So we have to understand that. In fact, all of you have heard, the love of money is the root of all evil. A lot of people think it's money is the root of all evil, but it's really the love of money. But what is it really saying? It's saying the symbols of wealth, the outer symbols, what we think is the wealth, but it's just the fruit. When you think that's your source, then look at your bank account, and if there's not a lot of money, you think you have less. And then you act as if you have less. You look at your body and it's not what you want, and you think you have less health, and you act like you have less. You look at your relationship or lack of one, and you think if only I had love, or if only he or she treated me better, or if only they loved me more. And then you act from those places. So we have been conditioned to act based on appearances. And when you understand that the same facility to create everything, like the fruit tree out of nothing turns the nothing into sap into fruit and all that we have that same capacity, you start to go, well, what if I already had it all? And that's when I teach in the law of emergence, is that this, I don't know if I've shared this with your community, but I struggled for years trying to improve myself. And after years and years of self-improvement, the only thing I improved was my ability to describe why my life was so screwed up.
Hello.
And I first of all, I almost died of an overdose because I was so lost. Then I almost drowned and had a near-death experience. And in this experience, I saw that the self I had been trying to fix and improve and attract and achieve was a fiction. It was an amalgamation of parental fantasy and peer pressure, societal conditioning. But there was a self already there that had never been damaged. And so he didn't need to be fixed. And he was already whole and complete, and so he couldn't be improved upon. And it shattered something dramatically in me. I ended up becoming a monk for a few years. But I discovered
oh yes, I was a yogi. I went right into yogi after my low bottom, and so that surrender, that shattering is a great word. Keep going.
Yeah, and it showed me. I mean, after this opening, I could see the luminosity everywhere, and I didn't know what had happened to me. But as I went in this deep contemplation period, I saw, for example, again to the seed, that like in the acorn, the oak tree already exists. But not just in the seed, in the field. The whole oak is there. Just like right now where you all are, your favorite song is playing right now. But you can't hear it unless you know what station it's on, which is a frequency, and you know how to tune into that frequency. The minute your frequency matches that frequency, that station becomes manifest. You have a manifestation. All right. So where was that station? Where was that song before? It was right here. It wasn't in the future. It wasn't in the past.
Yes.
And so when I realized that, I realized just like this perfect powder is in the seed of the oak, it's also in the seed of me. Yes. That there's a perfect pattern in all of us. And just real quick, they now know from studies in longevity that your body, your genetics, your genome is the same exact genomic pattern as when you were a child, which means all of the health and all the energy and all the vitality and the ability to produce everything your body needs to be young and strong and healthy has not changed. But the epigenome is the thing through which it is filtered. So it reads the genome through the epigenome. And that's where the problem comes, because our beliefs and our conditions over time, they create filters that allow our body not to read the perfect pattern as easily. But the perfect pattern is still there. It's like having a VHS and making a bunch of copies. By the time you get to the 10th copy.
Remember those?
Yeah, you're like, radio is a thing we used to have for all you kids out there. So, you're like looking at the last copy, you're like, what is that, a person? Is that a dot?
Yeah.
Well, the same thing is true with the pattern of our body, but the same thing is also true with the pattern of our life. There's a perfect pattern right now for everyone here of wealth and health and love and joy abundantly. I have come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. That is the promise. But we've been hypnotized and conditioned to believe that we are mere physical and to be conditioned to judge by the appearances. When I reversed all of that and I began to first and foremost get reconnected to that pattern, to that seed pattern within me, to discover what is that? What am I really made of and made for? And then realizing with what I coin the law of emergence, whatever's missing is what I'm not giving, what I'm not generating, what I'm not circulating, because the whole pattern is in me. And as soon as I understood that and I began to live from that place, not lean on resources, but lean on the source, I began to live from that place and act from that place, step by step. It began to open out a way, as the poet Robert Browning says, to release the imprisoned splendor. New inspiration, new guidance, new energy began to unfold. And I went from broke, broken, suicidal, ultimately living on mac and cheese. I got really good at mac and cheese, but
There's a good side to mac and cheese.
Exactly. But ultimately to living in beautiful homes and turning my whole life around in a year, and ultimately financially independent in like 3 years, like decades before I've imagined. So the key was I had to remember to wake up that the substance of all of my creation is invisible. It's consciousness. It's the same invisible substance creating all of nature that created all the universe. It's within me. And I had to reclaim that and find a way to begin to open up and circulate more of that. And we can talk more of that, but I wanted to put a pin on this. When you know that it's in you, there's so many things that start to change, because there's so many places for all of you where you're waiting for something out there to change before you can be yourself, right? It's like the John Mayer song, waiting on the world to change, right? No, stop waiting on the world to change. You as Gandhi need to be the change you want to see.
I love it. And it's counterintuitive. It's not what we're told. We think I'll be happy when, I'll have this when, I need to get to when. And so many people in my world are purpose guided and they're building a business. And especially when it comes to building a business, we get all caught up in cracking the code and figuring it out. And how am I going to make it happen? And I tried that and it didn't work. And if we forget that we can soften all that, right? And we don't know how. So this all sounds great, Mr.
I'm trying to cram like 25 years of research into 5 minutes.
Right. It's powerful, right? And that idea of the seed is so powerful. And so is there anything we can do to, like, that, for me, I would say, have the felt sense of that source, have the felt sense of the potential of that seed. That's the thing that I think is so elusive. We all work on our mindset, or that broken piece you're sharing, where we're like, I'm a problem that needs to be solved. I'm a broken piece of furniture that needs to be fixed. And so how do we access that felt sense? I mean, for me, I think that's where the transformation and the energy starts to flow, is when we can feel that felt sense of expansion, or that felt sense of source. Do you have any cool tips?
And
strategies?
We can talk about some of like the 7 wealth activators, or
definitely
the 7 gifts, because once you understand it's all within you, then it becomes all about how do you design a life and how do you live to open up all the 7 core channels of circulation. Again, circulation is the key. The more volume and velocity of circulation of life force, love force, light force, the more volume and velocity of circulation, the more growth, the more green. This is in every system in life. When the circulation is abundant, then there's abundance. When the circulation stops, there's stagnation. During the Great Depression, there was no lack of wealth or of food or anything. In fact, there was so much food, they had to burn it up and dump it into the ocean. The problem was circulation. The problem was people believed there wasn't enough, and they stopped circulating. They stopped sharing. They stopped giving. They stopped creating. They stopped investing and inventing. They stopped expressing. They shut down the channel, and stagnation ensued. That was the only thing missing, was circulation. And that's the only thing missing in anything. If it's a relationship and the other person's not giving you what you want, or you're waiting for them to give you something, the problem is with your circulation. That's right. You need to love yourself more, respect yourself more, value yourself more, and then you need to start giving it to where you are trying to get it from. And as you do that, it will elevate the field, it will activate the potential, and one of 2 things will happen. You will grow out of that relationship or that job, or that job or that relationship will rise to meet you. Well, I remember when I was a waiter, I had to get a job as a waiter. I was a successful actor, and I had this near-death experience, and everything fell apart for a while. And at a certain point, I needed to get a job. And I went to get a job as a waiter. I went from being an actor to a waiter instead of the other way around. I do everything backwards. But I remember I had this vision, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to live it at this waiter's job. But what I began to do is ask, if I was already living that vision, if I already was that person, who would I be? What would my values be? What would my conversations be? What would my habits of thinking, feeling, being, and doing?
Yeah.
Those are the 4 quadrants of character. And I began to show up to this job and give 5-star service in a 3-star restaurant.
Hell yeah.
I began to not participate in the gossip and the communication. I began to, so it's not just about what I was doing, but also what I resisted doing. I did not
say that again.
It's not just about what I was doing, it's about what I stopped doing.
That's right.
And some of it was hard to stop. I was not popular for a while because the other waiters were like, well, who are you? Why are you not gossiping about the customers? And why are you doing such excellent work and making us all look bad? You know? And it really was, I was a little bit of a pariah at first. And then that brought up in me unconscious patterns, guilt, fear, loneliness, which were already there, which was really what was behind my unwillingness to shine.
Yes.
I began to shine. I could see, oh, I'm afraid of not being liked. I'm afraid of not being accepted. I'm afraid of being rejected. I'm afraid of losing this job. And then I got fired.
Yay.
And they hired me back because they're like, it wasn't your fault. The other manager, thinks you're trying to get her job or something. I'm like, I don't want her job. What is with everybody? And I got hired, and I ended up getting fired 3 times. But what happened was I kept filling out the pot I was planted in. I kept stretching my branches and digging my roots and blossoming and flowering as much as I could where I was. And the result was I outgrew that environment. Whether it's an obstacle or a small opportunity, you can outgrow it, not by fighting the obstacle or feeling bad about the less than perfect opportunity, but by reconnecting to that pattern, that purpose, that vision, and going, if I really was this, who would I be today? How would I treat myself? How would I treat them? How would I show up? How much would I give? And then being that. And like a plant in a little pot, the gardener's going to put you in a bigger pot and a bigger pot until it lets you loose in the field to freely grow. And so I grew out of that. And on the 3rd time that I mutually decided to get fired, a month later, I got hired and speaking and teaching, all the stuff that had been in me.
Yeah.
And I went from making like $50 a day to $1,500 a day. And I was wined and dined in 5-star restaurants all over the country versus serving in a 3-star restaurant. And I wrote an article after that called How I Stopped Waiting and Started Serving.
Nice.
So that's the first thing. Wherever you are right now, again, many of you are looking and you're modulating and you're negotiating with life. Like, I'll give a little now and I'll keep a little on the layaway plan, or keep a little, that's another old thing that nobody knows
the layaway plan.
I'm really dating myself.
Me too. I'm right there with you. It's fine.
But like the key is when you bring all of yourself to what is in front of you, all of yourself. I remember I had a client who was a radiologist, and he looked at x-rays all day long, and he really wanted to be doing this other thing, have a clinic and all this stuff. And I said, and we looked at what he was doing, and I said, if you were this guy, this healer, what would be the energy you'd bring? And so I ended up having him pray and bless over every single x-ray that he read all day long. And within just about a week or 2, he came back to me and he was flying. He was like, I have never felt so inspired. I'm on fire. I'm blessed with every x-ray. Within a couple months from that, he was opening his own clinic. Beautiful. The money showed up. Everything showed up. Where was all that money? It was locked up in that invisible life and potential that he was holding back because it didn't match the situation. Most people are waiting for something to change. And whatever you're waiting for, you're waiting with, and you're weighing it down and you're holding it back. And this is the ultimate weight loss program.
I love hearing you talk, man. So okay, we hold back. We have these things that we do, right? I was talking with a lady who's, like, I want to grow, I want to reach more people, I want to serve bigger, I want to have a bigger impact, but I'm afraid. But I don't want to get overwhelmed. I'm afraid if I open the valve, I'll get right.
Yes.
So how do we expand around that? I know that you have some gifts that you're going to let me share with everybody here today, and that some of them are about these. You started talking about how we're hypnotized. You have the 5 hypnotic wealth spells, but I'd love to hear if you would tell us a little bit about wealth activators. I like to stay in the solution more than the things that keep us back. So how do we
7 wealth activators or 7 gifts? And I'll also will talk just briefly, because it is in the Awaken Wealth work that I do, that example you just gave, where I really want to go big, but I'm afraid I'll get overwhelmed, or I'm afraid I'll get sick, or I'm afraid I'll lose my freedom, or I'm afraid I'll, whatever. And those are called values conflicts. And so basically there's values that you have, and I won't go into complete detail, but just so you can understand.
Yeah.
You value success, let's say, and you also value your freedom. But the way it's been wired in you from your upbringing, or from society, or from some previous traumatic experience, is that success and freedom are mutually exclusive. But they're not. All of these qualities, wealth and abundance, health and love, success and freedom, all of these are one. But what happens is, because of an experience, like when I grew up, my dad was really successful, but the more successful he got, the more our family kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
And he didn't seem to really understand my artist ways, He thought Pearl Jam was something you put on toast. And I thought Dow Jones was his friend, Mr. Jones. I didn't know, we just didn't connect. But I made this association that business and success and power was going to hurt and family and my creative, abilities and all of that. So when I grew up and I needed to make money as an artist and stuff, I couldn't until I saw this. And what this is called is a broken circuit. A broken circuit where these two things that are not opposing, they're collaborators. They're meant to be connected and work together, like selfish and selfless.
Yeah.
Giving and greedy. These are not separate. They're meant to work together. And when you have a circuit, remember I said before, circulation is the key to abundance. When you have a circuit, you have circulation. When you have a broken circuit, because of a judgment, because of a hypnotic spell, you have a broken circuit and you cannot circulate in that area. Yeah. And so you do burn yourself out. That's you do overwhelm. It's like trying to breathe out all day, or just breathe in and hold your breath all day. And you have to have the full circuit. And in the work that we're going to give you today, I'm going to show you and begin to teach you how to identify, how to repair those circuits, how to open up and begin to increase your circulation. But again, there's the only thing holding your wealth and abundance and success back is these unconscious patterns, these false concepts of what wealth and abundance is. And it's creating the filters, as I said before, like your body has the perfect genome. It's creating filters that are not allowing you to have full access to your perfect pattern and potential that has not gone anywhere, that can never be diminished or destroyed. It's right here waiting for you to get connected to it and to remove all of this old stuff out of the way so that it can unfold. And the 7 wealth activators are one of the key area or ways to begin to circulate. And I won't go through all of them, but
yeah, I want to hear about them. I want to talk about this circuit too, just because I know there's a lot of people here in my world that are called to serve big and have that push-pull of like, it is not safe. I will be killed if I express,
exactly.
Right? If I express, I will die. And I personally have manifested total ostracization and all kinds of things. I've proven that out to myself, and I know the very real fear. And so if you have a circuit, something that needs to come and it's broken and the desire is still there, it fries both sides, right? It's as much energy to withhold and to put the brakes on. And that's when it starts to manifest in all kinds of other ways. So it's so not only so that you can get all the goodies and what you want and have the flow and the great life and the money, but holding ourselves back is exhausting and depleting.
It's worse than exhausting. There's a saying, the Gospel of Thomas, If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you.
Yeah.
But if you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. And Brene Brown even says, unexpressed creative energy is not benign, it metastasizes.
That's right.
What happens to a branch that's not blooming? It gets pruned.
Yeah.
So there's nothing more important than bringing forth what is within you. That is why you're here.
Yes.
What is the point of an apple seed if it does not bring forth an apple tree?
Yes.
Jesus cursed the fig tree because it wasn't producing any figs and it died. So like, bloom or be pruned is the cosmic,
expand or contract,
exactly.
grow, change or die.
Grow, you're not growing, don't get busy growing, living and growing, you're getting busy dying.
Yeah.
So that's really, really important. And yes, there's reasons why we hold back, without going into all of it right now, but just so you know what's inside some of these goodies and things we're going to share with you today.
Yeah, for sure.
When you're growing up, you develop a map of reality and an identity based on experiences.
Yep.
You're free in a certain way, and then you get the message, you can't be like that. You can't be selfish. You can't be greedy. You can't be needy. You can't be crazy, or you're not creative, or you're not beautiful, and you begin to create two piles. One is the pile of I am not, and that becomes your shadow. Mm-hmm. And one is the pile of I am, and that becomes your ego or your identity. Mm-hmm. But the problem is the shadow, which also includes those values conflicts, it doesn't go away. Mm-hmm. You thought you rejected it and pushed it away, and it's gone, but it's not destroyed. It's now driving
the bus.
Driving the bus. Exactly. That desire to not be rejected, or that that desire to not be unworthy, is what's driving you to either overwork or overdo and overcompensate, or it's driving you to wait until you're certain you're not going to do it wrong or get rejected.
That's right.
And in either case, you're driving with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. Or for some of you, you just pulled the emergency brake.
Pull the ripcord.
Like the life doesn't, pull the ripcord. The life doesn't stop trying to live through you.
Nope.
Still,
it's excruciating. It's excruciating. I have, this big dream, this thing I'm here to do. I'm meant to do this thing, and I choke. I can't. I won't. It's not. And it's pulling into, it's two freight trains and pulling in two different directions, and it's exhausting. And it's just.
Well, it's like the old Zen statement. You're trying to ride two horses at the same time, going in opposite directions.
Yeah. Pulled you apart.
Or for the biblical reference, you are serving two masters.
Yeah.
A house divided cannot stand.
Beautiful.
You're like, I want to be safe, but I want to be successful. Well, you can have both, but not if they're disconnected. What you have to do, and I'll give you guys a quick little exercise.
Great.
You can just play with it right now. But if you can find out what are those opposing values, safety versus success, wealth versus health, whatever. And one way you can do it is say, if I really succeed here, or if I really achieve my dreams, or if I really go for it, I'm afraid I'll have to sacrifice, fill in the blank.
What's the cost?
Or I'm afraid I'll lose, fill in the blank. You can do that right now, and you'll hear things like, I'll lose my freedom, I'll lose privacy, I'll lose relationships,
credibility, respect.
Whatever, right? Whatever that is. Now take those two qualities and you can weave them together in what's called a values affirmation. So it sounds something like, for mine, it was success versus love and creativity and spirituality. I thought I was going to have to sacrifice those heart-centered, more feminine-based things for the masculine success, wealth, and all that. Mm-hmm. I realized and wove together, the more successful and wealthy I am, the more creatively inspired and connected I become. And the more I honor my creativity and my connections to my loved ones and to my spirit, the more successful and wealthy I become. And so if you can put those together like that, you start to feel like wires starting to touch again, the circuit's starting to touch. And as I wove that together, those values were now allies. And they began to work together so that I would start to get success, and it would inspire me to go deeper into my connection.
Yeah.
Go and be more creative. And I would be doing my creative work and my spiritual work and connecting with people. And I would be empowered to take an even bigger leap in my work and in my business.
Yeah.
And suddenly the circuit was connected again.
Yeah.
Now it was circulating. Wealth and success, love and creativity, wealth and success, love and creativity. It's all one. And it's just like, and then it's just like, bam, and my life went to a whole new level.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that so much.
Do we have time to talk about any of the 7?
Yeah. I would love to talk about just tell us about what is a wealth activator. Maybe tell a couple. You guys, I'm going to give you access to, you're going to comment below one of these places where we are, or you're going to just send me a DM on Facebook. You guys know how to reach me. I'm going to make sure you get a link to that, and I'll come back in here after and find us and put links in the comments for you guys to access an all access pass. So Derek's got a whole bunch of teaching and training that's going to rock your world. And part of that is where is it? There we go. What he calls the 7 wealth activators. So what does that mean? What's a wealth activator? And maybe tell us one or two, and what does mastering the energy of money look and feel like?
Yeah. So, that's just a clever name, wealth activator. They originally also called them the 7 gifts that give you everything.
Beautiful.
And it's really, there's 7 channels of opening, of circulating. And I'll see if I can remember them all right now, but it's basically giving out, which is your time, talent, and treasure. Giving away, which is all the stuff that you're hoarding and holding on to that's not alive, that's not serving. And we'll pop into one or more of these. Giving up, which is letting go of the internal pet peeves and certain like getting rid of all the external debris and clutter. But there's a handful of specific repetitive patterns, like you love to complain, or you love to, there's these core things that are all energy patterns that are causing your channels to get stuck and not flow. And then there's giving in, which is that there's this, what we were just talking about. Something is trying to emerge in you. The call is coming. You're being called, but you're letting it go to voicemail. Yeah. And the universe is getting the message mailbox full. So you need to answer the call. You need to give in to that.
Hello?
Call.
Hello?
Hello? Is this on? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
That's the universe.
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
Exactly. And so that like the acorn, it feels the call and it starts to crack its shell. And if it thinks it's just a nut, it's going to hold on to that shell and try to fix it and keep it together. It has to give in, surrender to what's emerging in it, right? And then there's giving to yourself. This is a critical one for a lot of you heart-centered, spiritually inclined people, because you're walking around breathing out all day and wondering why you're exhausted. And you're giving from your roots instead of from your fruits.
Nice.
And now
your words.
That's why your tree is not as flowering and fruiting, because you're like, I don't really have it, but here, take a root. Here, take another piece of my roots.
Or like, I can't have anything for myself. I can't have it. Here, you have it. You have it. Yeah.
And you're supposed to give from the overflow, give from the fruits, not from your roots. So giving to yourself is a key one. And then there's another one, is give for forgiving. Behind every story of debt is a story of unforgiveness. So there's just a hand. I don't know if that's all 7 of them, but you get an idea. Like, for example, all of these you can practice. So the giving away of your time, talent, and treasure. These are 3 key things that we hold on to, or we wait for the right condition. Yep. We wait to have time. Yep. Well, I'll do that when I have time. No, it doesn't work that way. Yep. If it's a yes bubbling up in you, you have to give your time to it. The universe never needs a day planner. Nature never needs a day planner. Why? Because it can't be anything but what it is. We've been hypnotized into thinking we're something that we're not. We're the acorn that's meant to be an oak tree, but we've been hypnotized to believe apple trees are really the best deal in town. So I'm going to be an apple tree. Or you're a rose, but you're like, people really seem to like daffodils, and you're trying to be what you're not. So you can't do that. You have to, if the call is coming, if the yes is there, you have to practice saying yes to your yes. No progress happens until you tell the truth and you say yes. Yep. And then you have to give your time to that. And what will happen is it'll start to open up.
Yep.
There will be more time. There will be more opportunity. And then talent. You want to write that book. You want to do a video on Facebook. You want to share your message in a bigger way, but you're waiting again. I'm waiting to make sure I'm good enough. I'm waiting to feel confident. Confidence doesn't come before you do it. Right? You have to act as if. You have to give of your talent. Not when people like it, not when people love it. The rose doesn't bloom on the hill only if somebody's looking at it and applauding. It blooms because that's its nature.
Yeah.
And it changes consciousness. And then finally, your treasure. And this is a tough one. Treasure as in your money, your currency. You say, I don't have enough, or I can't afford it, or what if it doesn't work, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I remember once I was just growing my business and the voice came through and said, you need to take everything you've just made and hire people and put it back in the business. And I was like, that's not fair, man. And the voice said, it's not your money. It's not your business. It belongs to me. It belongs to the universe. You're the steward. You just make sure that the energy flows where the vision wants to go and watch what happens. And so it was like, pour all my treasure back into the vision, to invest up to the highest vision, not down to the lowest fear. And what happened? A year later, my business had doubled.
Okay, we're going to say that again. We got so much good here. Invest up instead of invest down. Huge. And it's kind of crazy. It's freaking scary. It's unknown. It's who am I to say, and how could I ever? And it's stepping forward into that. And I think it takes a radical courage, a radical self-trust. And I know for me, when I started to expand, it was actually with the help of one of our friends, Christian Michelson, holding a container, right? Where it was like, am I going to do this or not? And I could not deny the thing that was being called. And I had no rational reason to make the investment that I did. And the investment was fantastic and what I got was amazing, but it was the decision to make it that changed everything.
Yes, exactly.
And it was, I'm not even going to say it was terrifying. It was inevitable. I could no longer push it away or deny it. And it still took me another few years to decide once and for all. This isn't something that my business doesn't have to prove its worthiness to me. I don't have to prove my worthiness to have the business. The business just is, it's going to be big. It's going to be awesome. Let's party. And I still had to make a decision to do that.
Yes.
And then I had to be, let myself say yes.
Yes.
To the guidance I was receiving. I'm getting goosebumps. So we're on track.
I'm too.
Right. To the guidance I was receiving and say, I want this, right? I want this. I am this, and I got to sit on his stage later that year and say, I went from $20,000 a year to my first $20,000 client, and if I hadn't done that irrational, crazy, how can I do this? And I'm the big dream chaser. I'm like, I'm going to move to New York City with $200 in my pocket. Boom, and I'm going to do these things. But there was all this push pull. Yes. And all the push pull, everything you're talking about, it's so powerful.
I'm getting chills again. Because if you look throughout history or look at anybody you admire, they all did. By the way, I mean, everything I'm sharing you here, and I know we're kind of jumping around, but hopefully you guys are picking up the nuggets and feeling the resonance.
Yeah, that's the most important thing.
There's a field here. That's why we're getting chills and all this stuff. But this is, I've studied the greatest leaders, change makers, teachers, coaches, authors, healers throughout history, and the greatest political leaders, whatever, innovators, revolutionaries, the people that have changed the course of history in a big way or in an industry or in an art or whatever, and distilled what are the universal principles and practices behind all of that and what is missing when it doesn't work out. And that's what I'm sharing here, and you're confirming and also sharing here is there are specific ingredients, and there's an order to put those ingredients together. Yeah. Or you end up with a pancake instead of a birthday cake. Yeah. And maybe you like pancakes, in which case that's a different recipe. But
maybe it's the best pancake ever.
Right. But so none of this is theoretical. Right. And it's not personal. It's a principle. So it works for you when you know the principle and you know how to work it. And what you
practice.
And in practice, and like you were saying, it's not like I'm inspired right now. I got it. I'm good.
Yeah. There's no certification.
Yeah, you have to say yes every day.
Every day.
You have to build the habit pattern. Character equals destiny, not conditions. As Confucius said, all men are alike. It is their habits that separate them. You have to
habits of thought, habits of
thinking,
focus,
feeling, being, and doing.
Yep.
These are the 4 quadrants of character. And right now, the life you've got is the result of the character you've built, the machine you've built. And you have to rebuild it or upgrade it. You've got all the pieces. You just need to do some rewiring and cleaning out some of the filters and opening up some of the channels. And then its capacity, it can crank up at a whole new level. But like you said, you had to make a decision. Decision means to cut away from. As in, like, incision is to cut into, decision is to cut away. It means you're cutting away from an old but familiar and safe pattern.
Decades of impoverished artists, starving artist mentality. It's not safe to be seen and heard. All I want to do is be seen and heard and share. Decades of it. And feeling, and the slow growth of expansion, like you shared, your first surrender, the low bottom with drugs and alcohol, oh my God, there's so much more. I'm going into meditation, all of those things, but it accelerated when I could no longer hold back the dam.
Totally. And when you learn how to build these as habits, which I'm going to show you all how to do, because you've already got these little machines in your brain, your neural pathways and all that. When you learn how to build these, then you don't just get a result A. It ends up getting 2A or 2X. It starts to compound. Yeah. It starts to build a process where your growth and your healing and your expansion and your abundance is on autopilot, at least a dimension of it. So that things are happening now with you having to push and pull it all. And I also will say, and this is really important because we're heading into some very interesting times right now. Right. It's getting cray-cray out there. Real. It's getting real. And it's going to get a lot more real. Right. Maybe I should say it's going to get a lot more fake, but there's gonna be a lot of deep fakes, a lot. So with AI and the revolution coming, and with all the different things socio-politically, it's really, really important to know how to have your center and lay a foundation in a time of crisis, so that you can thrive and also take advantage of what's available to you, because you never want to let a good crisis go to waste. And no matter where you are right now, whether you're struggling, whether you've had trauma, whether you've been through some stuff, please know this work I'm teaching, it was born in a recession. I was broke. As I already said, I was broke, I was broken, I was suicidal. And this all unfolded. But also, I've practiced this for over 2 decades. Through a divorce after 23 years that broke my heart, and I thought I was going to lose everything, to rebuilding everything back up, a love of a lifetime. I've never knew love could be so grand and so great that I now enjoy and experience. I went through having my fortune stolen from me, to rebuilding it all bigger and better, more power, more inspiration, more opportunity, more creativity. I even went through the tragic, unimaginable loss of a child. And the thing that takes most people out. And you put all those things together, it's like, I'm out of here. But because of understanding these principles, that this pattern in us can never be broken. That's right. The potential in you can never be stolen. Right. This life and this destiny you came to live can never be denied. And these principles, when you practice them and you embody them, they will prove that to you. And I've proven it again and again, and also with the thousands of people who have been bankrupt, who have been homeless, who have been in all manner of situations and turned their whole life around. So I just want to say, you might look at us and go, well, you guys are unique and special, and maybe you can do it, but you don't know my story, Derek. No, I do know your story. Yeah. I've lived it, some degree of it. And experience teaches, right? Experience teaches, and you've, demonstrated so much of what's possible. And it's so good. I want to ask you
to tell us. We're going to share an all access pass. Derek has been sharing some amazing trainings over the last week or so, and I've been sharing them with people in my email community. And we have about 24 hours to access this all access pass, and his teachings and his tools and the tell us what's in there so people can hear.
And I would just say, if you can put aside a few hours
to dive
in and start in the beginning and just go through, and you will have your world rocked.
Better than Netflix. Skip Amazon Prime for one night. This is your bedtime entertainment. It will rewire you. Please make time.
It will shift your whole paradigm of the true nature and source of wealth, of the true power and potential of you, and how to finally reclaim your sovereignty, your agency, your voice, your power, and your destiny, and begin to live it and shine it and manifest it, regardless of what conditions you've been facing or what you've been through or what's going on in the world. I'm telling you what I know, guaranteed. And so I would encourage you, take advantage before it gets taken down to you're right, like a little over 24 hours.
Exactly.
But just go through it. Just give yourself that gift of going through start with the videos, because I walk you through step by step, and I build this model of the true way you were designed to manifest wealth, abundance, and success. I build it step by step. So just go through that. If you have time to look at the books, you can go peruse through them. You'll see the 5 Hypnotic Wealth Spells. It's a beautiful book, beautifully laid out. It's yours forever. Just go through it.
Yeah, definitely access those gifts. If you're here, especially if you're still here for 45 minutes later, there's a resonance. And so don't let the resonance be where you leave it. Go ahead and get access to these tools, some of which you'll have. I think the book you said, you can have forever.
Well, the book, because you'll be able to download it.
Because we can download it. So at least that, right? But here's the thing, we're on the Give Voice to Your Vision show, and this is going to be out there in the world. So if you found this and you're still here watching this, DM us, find us. Take the next step of getting the support you need, the tools you need, the resources you need. We're not meant to go it alone, and you don't have to stay stuck or struggle. I say this with anyone who's sharing resources in my world. If you resonate with a resource, please follow it up with action and implementation. And you're going to think, oh my God, this is so amazing, I'm going to go do it. But the reality is that we don't follow it up with that action and implementation if we don't have the support, the container, the accountability. And you're also going to have access to actually work with Derek. If you take advantage of these resources and you're feeling that resonance, say yes to yourself like I did. I'm going to cry. Okay. This isn't a hard sell. I don't care what you do with your life, but if you want this and you're feeling resonance, that yes is the most powerful decision that you're going to make. And I've said yes to myself in some really powerful ways. Getting sober 32 years ago was a yes I never imagined. And saying yes to my now 25-year-old marriage, 30 years together, and seeing the abundance and the manifest that's going, that is when I need to look around and see my abundance, those two things, 32 plus years going strong, I got goosebumps again. So you can have this. It's because I said yes. And I did the thing that seemed maybe a little crazy, but I didn't do it alone. I softened, I surrendered, I gave in to the yes. And I was like, I want this. I'm going to let myself have the support. So I say that with all the love in my heart. If you're feeling a resonance, please get these tools. It takes some time to absorb them. It's worth pausing the other things for a little bit so you can at least get the resonance and the tuning fork, right? We're tuning here, and you can tune. We talk in my world about your frequency factor. And so if you're feeling that vibrational resonance, it means something. It's the most important thing you can do. And so I'll get off my bully pulpit, but don't just gobble up the information, right? Feel it, resonate with it, review it, repeat it. And if you're resonating with any mentor, and this guy's amazing, and as am I, right? So go ahead and take that next step and have that next conversation and allow yourself to say yes to that too.
Well said.
All right.
These videos are high frequency encoded, so you will feel the shift even as you're watching them.
Yeah.
There's thousands of comments coming in about people like, oh my God, my whole world has changed. I mean, like literally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's
As
an
with
energy in the field right now. So
there is so much energy in the field. And that's why even before we started talking, I started getting like prickly heat. I mean, before we were together, I was like, there's so much energy moving and I'm feeling it now. So that is the most real thing. Everything else is perception, and trusting that and living from that is what these tools are going to start to help you do. Derek, it's been a couple years since I think, since we've talked. What a treat. What a pleasure. I so enjoy your words and your energetic frequency and the time that you took to be here with us. And we're going to make a point of sharing this too with the people in the email community. So you can DM, comment. You know how to find me, guys. You're smart social media people. If you're on YouTube or you're on Facebook and you find me, my team is helping me. We're here to get you that link. So if you're picking up what we're putting down, please comment and let us know to get that to you. Comment below or reach out to me in Messenger. Any parting words, my dear friend? My dear friend who I see once every 3 years on StreamYard.
Yes. I just hope if you get nothing, you get that you're not a problem to be fixed.
Yes.
And that the world cannot stop, block, delay, or deny your destiny and your success when you make the decision to be who and what you were made for. It's already in you. It's already been given. When you're in high school or school and you're acting confident, a kid said, who do you think you are? God's gift to the world? Now you can answer affirmatively. Matter of fact,
actually, so are you.
And so are you. So
yes.
be the gift, open the gift. Don't just leave it under the tree.
Yeah.
Share it.
So I'm just being guided right here for a second to say something that came through for me in a time when I was really expanding and stretching. If you'll indulge me here for just a second. It was God, hear me, help me raise my voice, help me make the choice to share the gifts I bring. God hears me, helps me take a stand, walks with me hand in hand so I can sing. And you can sing, and your life is your song.
Amen. Ashe. Hallelujah. Yes.
Beautiful. So good to be with you. Yeah, so good to be with you. Thank you, Derek. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. Take some time to review these resources, and we'll see you on the next Give Voice to Your Vision.